I always tell people that you're going to change the way you pose like multiple times throughout your life, because not only do bodies change, but trends change too. So much has changed kind of within posing. I mean, or else literally we'd all still be posing like we're an exec from like the 1980s like this, like that would be your work headshot.
That's Christine Buzan. I'm Kara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies Podcast. Well, I'm so excited to talk to you today. Let's jump right in and tell everyone your name, where you are in the world, and what you're up to.
So my name is Christine Buzan. I currently live in Fullerton, California, which is like the north part of Orange County, if you're familiar with Southern California, kind of by Disneyland, basically. So you can just say I live in Disneyland if you want. And I teach people how to look good in photos. So I currently have about 2.2 million followers on the internet between TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And it's my mission in life to help everyday women look and feel their best in front of the camera.
And that is exactly why I was like, guys, we need to talk to her, because I never imagined that my life would lead to a place where I was the face of a brand.
Yeah.
I spent so much of my time being behind the scenes. I still am most of the time for my clients. And if how the modern day is that you are your brand, and so you need to be creating content. And I have never been taught how to model or look good or do hair or do makeup. So usually we're just trying to fight the natural tendency where I will look horrible in a photo, not because I look horrible, but because I don't know how to take the photo the right way. So when I saw what you were doing, I'm like, we have to talk, because not only do I need what you are offering, but so many people do, because content has changed so dramatically in even just the past 5 years, let alone 10 years.
Definitely. It really has. And it's so interesting because, I'm sure we'll discuss more about my journey later and kind of how I got to this point. But we live in such a digital society where so many of our first impressions are made through photos. So if you're looking for a job, or if you are, entrepreneur who's trying to attract new clients or customers, you need to have an image. There needs to be a face to the person. It's not just enough to be a brand. And if you're trying to find a job, you have LinkedIn photos. 70% of people find their jobs through LinkedIn in this day and age. So you have to have a photo to be able to put a photo to the person, and you have to be able to accurately convey who you are in a way that feels authentic and kind of on brand to who you are and what your values are. And then it was back in 2016, I believe there was the statistic that 30% of married couples met on dating sites, which I'm sure is even higher, especially post-pandemic when everybody was on dating sites and things like that. And also, even if you're just making friends, I know I personally, if I meet somebody at a party or somebody who's a friend of a friend and they're like, you'd love this person, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to their Instagram, see what they're interested in, kind of see what their overall vibe is like. And taking photos is truly such a skill. And if you're able to master that and you're able to show up in photos in a way that feels authentic and represents who you are, you'll be able to get so much farther in life. So really, that's like why I do what I do, because we aren't taught how to pose for photos. That was something that was just reserved for models and movie stars and kind of on camera personalities and things like that. But it is such a necessary need, back in the same way that like when beauty YouTubers started really in 2008, they were taking all these tips and tricks that we just didn't hear about unless we learned about them from a magazine. But there are things that makeup artists knew, and it allowed us to be able to express ourselves in a different way. So it's basically kind of just doing the same thing.
If we go back to 8-year-old you, would she have imagined that this is her life?
In some ways, yes. I mean, I always had a dream of kind of living a big, visible life ever since I was little. I remember when I was young, thinking like I'd seen Madonna on TV and being like, I want that. I want to do something. I want to, make kind of an impact in some way and in a way that entertains people and makes other people happy. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have like such a sweet spot in what I do. I call it like edutainment, which I know is like a proper term, but I educate people. I hopefully empower other people, but I also entertain people and, teach them something that I hope is valuable, but at the same time, makes them smile or makes them feel like it's relatable to them.
Mm-hmm. How did you start doing this?
So basically, I moved to New York when I was 21 years old. I knew ever since I was 13 years old, like, okay, I want to work at a magazine. That was my dream, well before The Devil Wears Prada or The Hills or any of those TV shows that kind of glorified it. I had been an avid magazine consumer since I was probably about like 7 years old and would like get my hands on like 17 magazine, and things like that. And I knew basically I wanted to work within the world of magazines because I've always loved fashion and loved style. I've always really loved writing. For me, it's kind of about analyzing. Somebody once called Vogue a cultural barometer. I can't remember who said that, but the way that we present ourselves and the things that we think are popular within pop culture and stuff like that, it's just always been so fascinating to me, kind of how culture shapes how culture shapes our society and vice versa, and how everything like that. So I always knew I wanted to intern at a magazine. So I'd planned out my entire like college, schedule at University of Washington, knowing, okay, senior year, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to do my internship, which like back then, I mean, still even to this day, it's very, very hard to get an internship for a magazine, especially if you're somebody with no inside connections. And it's very much still like, I have a lot of friends who work in magazines. I love them, but it's very much still like a whole like nepotism society,
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I was going to do it. So I was going to do it. So, I applied to different magazines consistently, kept on like banging on doors. Finally, Marie Claire basically, interviewed me. I flew to New York from Seattle for my interview, started interning there. And one of the cool things that we got to do was assist on photo shoots. So we'd get there completely unpaid, 5 or 6 in the morning, unpack everything, steam it, get it all ready for when the stylists came in, help dress the models, make sure that nothing, walked away on set or anything like that. Then, at midnight or 1 a.m., pack it all up and take it back to the office. I loved it. So I would observe, though, like the way that the models would pose for photos and how that would completely change the way that they appeared or bring clothes to life or really bring a story to life. And around the same time, this was 2011 at this point when I was assisting on shoots a lot, I started a blog because back then it was like very clear, okay, the fashion industry is going digital. So I wanted to kind of have like a proof of work or a reference point of work for both like styling and writing, because that's what I really liked. And I mean, what better way to do that than a personal blog? So even after Marie Claire, like I took on different jobs where I was a fashion assistant, where I would assist on shoots. So I really would like talk with the models. I'd figure out kind of every single thing there was to know about the art of posing because I thought it was so fascinating. And then I'd take those tips and then I'd use them for my personal blog. So in front of the camera. And everything was going like fine and dandy. I was blogging. I was doing, my little like low paid fashion assistant jobs and stuff like that and just living my life in New York. And then in 2014, I changed my medication. So I've been on like mental health medication for a very, very good portion of my life. And it kind of just like stopped working. So we had to experiment with new medications. And within a matter of a year, I gained 70 pounds. And
Crazy.
so I was kind of faced with a decision of, okay, I really love blogging. None of my clothes fit me. I don't look right in front of the camera. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to learn how to dress myself? Am I going to learn how to repose myself? Or am I just going to give up on something I love? And like, I didn't want to do that. I didn't give up. So, I found an amazing community of other plus size bloggers, learned from them where they shopped. And then I kind of really practiced and honed in and took everything that I had learned assisting on these photo shoots, watching models and seeing how photographers worked and breaking it down in a way that worked for me and my new body. And social media had changed so much kind of between 2014, fast forward to like 2017, people started asking me, about, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? Because it became more common for more people to have like to be in front of the camera, whether you're an entrepreneur or anything like that, or even just posting pictures on your Instagram. So I discovered that there was kind of really a need for it. And I had been doing, fashion blogging, plus size fashion blogging, talking a lot about body confidence and things like that. But I really felt that it was my calling to break down the way that we pose for photos in a way that is accessible and there's in a way that's accessible and there's like a definitive system to it. So that's really what I focused on, starting in 2018. Then in 2020, I launched my first course. 2021, I got on TikTok, and then everything just kind of blew up from there. So long story long, that's my story.
No, I love it. And, I think about how there has, as much as we have been shifting into a body positive cultural conversation, there's still all the same pressures that there always was. It's like, okay, you're supposed to look like a supermodel, but if you're not, it's okay. But really, you should look like a supermodel. I feel like that's the conversation we're still having, and it's so
But it's
frustrating.
even worse if you try. People get mad at you if you try. It's like you have these societal pressures that are formed upon you.
Yeah.
And then this is something that I face a lot, especially kind of with every once in a while, a random stray man will end up on my content, which makes no sense because literally only 2% of my followers are men, according to, my statistics. And a lot of them tend to be gay men, which is great. Definitely. I love them. I'm glad that they're there. But a lot of times, a random man will kind of like end up on my content and be like, it's obvious you're insecure. Why are you trying so hard? And it's like, bro, like, why do you think everybody's insecure?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I don't think there's enough of a conversation about like, it's not that people aren't trying to be whatever their best version of their self is. There's just so much variety of what we're going through physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, how your body's changed from 20 to 60, going, if you're just recently pregnant or going through IVF or even freezing your eggs is like, it completely fucks with you. And there's, the skills that you're giving people about posing, no matter what you look like, and that this is going to work and make you feel more confident. It's a relief knowing that no matter how I feel in that moment, I can take some actions where at least the picture will make me feel better than I felt taking it.
Yeah. And the thing is, bodies are meant to change.
Yes.
That's another thing too. Like, I always tell people that you're going to change the way you pose like multiple times throughout your life, because not only do bodies change, but trends change too. So much has changed kind of within posing. I mean, or else literally we'd all still be posing like we're an exec from like the 1980s like this, like that would be your work headshot, like for your podcast. So, bodies are meant to change. Bodies are meant to move and look different and bend and roll and things like that. So it's just, I think it's a bodily understanding and awareness. And I think like also we as a society are so uncomfortable with being in our bodies, talking about, or I guess our, American Western society, just kind of embodying that. And posing is such a physical thing. It's such a mental thing. And it's also an art form. So it's a very interesting kind of medium that I think is really fascinating.
What is the foundation of how you're teaching people to pose? Is it using different angles? Is what's trending? Like, where are you starting people at? Like, just, I guess, just awareness.
Yeah. So I have the Pose Perfect formula, which is the kind of the root of everything. And then there's also something that I invented called the LAAFFS method. So that's LAAFFS. That stands for legs, abs, arms, fingers, face, shoulders. So it's essentially the order in which you pose. Basically, so instead of thinking about a pose as one stagnant thing that you step into, it's really about analyzing those different parts of your body almost in a way kind of like you would a paper doll, where it's like, this is my doll's, pants, and then this is her shirt, and this is her mittens, or, kind of picking and choosing. So it's really about taking tools within like your arsenal, knowing, okay, these are my arm poses, these are my leg poses, and kind of paper dolling them together. I think that's really the most effective way to pose for photos. And it's kind of something that, it's taken me years to like develop it, but it works. And it's so cool seeing, results from different people who are like, I felt so awkward, I didn't know what to do. And it's just breaking it down in a way that makes it accessible. So I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah. Well, I know the other thing that I've been realizing with myself is how I try to like make myself not the problem in situations. And especially like a group photo, I'm like, don't be the one trying. And I'm like, no, everyone else is going to look more amazing. I can take 1 second to like put on lipstick or make sure my hair isn't, doing something insane, Or not just like jump in and hunch over and like be in the corner and be like,
Yeah.
why do I look insane? And it's like, yeah, because I was trying not to be a burden on the picture when the whole point was for all of us to look amazing.
In a
And
picture.
yeah, so I've been like,
Yeah.
nope, we're going to take 2 seconds. We're going to be that person because why not? Like, I want to be able to look back at these photos, especially with friends and like in great experiences of life, and be proud to show the photo because I took a minute, if that,
Less than
to
a minute. Yeah.
less than a minute to like make sure I was acting. And I've been calling it now like acting like an adult. Like an adult puts on lipstick and goes into a photo. An adult makes sure that they are put together to some extent versus like being in a rush or being a kid where you're just like running through screaming. So like it's okay to take 30 seconds, a minute to be an adult and look my best as I can in that moment in the photo versus again, just like sticking my head in from the side, which never looks good.
Yeah.
You know, when we go down to the fundamentals of being the face of our brands and posing a lot, like how do you mentally prepare when you're going to be doing like a shoot versus casual photography that you're a part of?
Yeah. So I think preparedness is such a key thing when it comes to posing for photos. So it's really understanding what the goal of your photo shoot is. So if the goal of your photo shoot is like wedding photos, that's going to be the goal should be to interact with whoever your spouse is and really create points of connection. If the goal is for your business, it's establishing kind of competency and having, conveying what working with you is going to be like, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that mindset is definitely a really big part of it. That's normally, when I run my course, which I'm going to be relaunching again soon, hopefully. I just have been so busy lately. But mindset is the number one thing we talk about because it's really coming in with a vision of the target you're trying to achieve and getting yourself mentally prepared to go into it. So I think that's a big thing. And even if it's a simple kind of photo shoot, like, okay, I'm posing with my best friend. What are you trying to convey? What is it about your relationship? Are you guys goofy? Are you serious? Do you have each other's backs? Do you really like love each other? Figure out kind of what the vibe is of the photo that you're taking ahead of time. And everything will kind of fall into place after that.
Yeah. I want to go back to you and your journey. How much is your mindset and taking care of yourself a part of you being able to run this business and stay healthy?
Oh God, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not sure I'm really the best at it. I'm a bit of an insane person, and I think that really helps. I'm off, obviously, which is okay because it's, that kind of level of obsession has been very helpful in doing what I'm doing and kind of holding on to that mission. I don't really sleep a lot. I don't take vacations. I have, kind of with my various like mental health issues that I have, I have big burnouts and I'll sometimes be like in bed for 2 days. So I'm definitely not like the best authority on self-care or, anything like that. But I mean, doing what I do makes me happy and it's super important to me. So I just try to produce, as much free content as I can for everyone because people really appreciate it. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think you're alone. I mean, every time I ask any female, founder that question, they're all like, I would say 90% are like, oh, I am not good at it. And part of it is because of whatever we're measuring ourselves against. And, thinking that we're never doing enough.
Well, I just get so excited too. I think that's the big thing. I have a hard time sleeping at night because I'm excited. And then the second I relax, I think of another really good idea. And I'm like, dang it, I want to do that. Like, there's just so many things that I want to do and, that I want to create. And there's so many things that people are asking for. And I want to be able to provide that in a way that's meaningful and accessible, like to them. So it's really important to me.
And are you running your empire solo? Do you have a team? Like, how are
I do
you
everything by myself.
My goodness.
From graphic design, editing, coding my website. I do everything myself. So yeah.
You're all in. Mm-hmm.
I'm all in. Yeah.
When you think of the words powerful and ladies, what do those definitions mean when those words are independent? And do they change when they're put next to each other?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, I mean, I think when you think about powerful, it's kind of like the word awesome and like awe-inspiring. That version of like awesome rather than like radical, dude, that kind of thing. It's, power has a lot of weight to it. When you're powerful, you have a sense of responsibility to other people. It's not just about yourself. I think that's the key thing. Um, such like a deep existential question. I think that the thing about power is that it's really a sense of responsibility to other people. In some way, when you have power or you're a powerful person, you have the ability to impact kind of the outcome of either different situations or other people's lives or both. So that's powerful. And then, ladies, I guess it has a specific sense of refinement to it rather than just women or females or anything like that. I mean, a lady is kind of truly in a different caliber, I'd say. It's somebody who almost has like a blueprint in a way for a way that they want to live their life and a way that they handle both themselves and their interactions with other people. So I think when you really combine like powerful and ladies together, it's about a way of the way that you handle yourself when you're with other people. So, knowing that your actions impact other people, that you'll treat other people a very specific way and that you have a standard, for yourself. And that impacts both how others see you and impacts how others see themselves.
Who are powerful women that have helped and guided you along your path?
I would definitely say Sally Singer, who is the editor-in-chief of the New York Times Style magazine. She's been at Vogue. She took the time to meet with me back because we have a mutual family friend back when I was a lowly intern at Marie Claire, kind of navigating. She was the one who told me, you should get on the internet. You should make a blog. So I am deeply, even though we had one interaction, indebted to her and her kindness and her graciousness that she did that for me. I'd say when I was working at L'Occitane in Provence, I had two women mentors, Tali and Serena, who were both, very helpful. I think especially when you have a job that's within the business world, it can be so easy to be cutthroat. But the truth is, if you teach other people how to do a good job, that just makes you an even, better boss. So I think that those are some of the, there's been so many. I've been very, very fortunate to have so many friends and kind of not coworkers, but, contemporaries, I guess is the word, who are wonderful. So I'm very grateful for that.
We ask everyone who's on the podcast where they put themselves on the powerful lady scale. If 0 is average everyday human and 10 is most powerful lady you can imagine, where would you put yourself today and on an average day?
I'd say on a scale of everyday regular person to Oprah, like I'm probably about on a 0 to 10 scale. Like I'd say I'm a 1. I'm just kind of a normal person. I work, I have friends, I have, different things that I do. And I'm lucky that I get to reach a wide group of people. But at the same time, like posing isn't brain surgery. It's just posing for photos. And I'm very lucky to be able to make other people, feel a specific way about themselves or see themselves in a new light. And if that's powerful, that's cool. But I don't really make that many decisions. I feel like most people, they see they learn things from me and then they make their own decisions about themselves and they have the power.
Yeah. Well, I do think that, and I talk to many of my clients about this, that the thing that we have access for our $1 million idea or, being amazed that we're making money doing fill in the blank is the stuff that comes so obvious to us.
Yeah.
And because we don't realize the skills or even the vision that we have about something, like how we see something can be so different from other people, but to us, it's so normal. And like, I need people like you, and I need people who know hair and makeup, and I need people who know how to take, like, there's so many things that I need to make my business work at any level that I just don't know how to do. Like, until I see someone else talking about it, I'm like, I didn't even know I had to worry about that. Damn it. So there's like so many things that keep kind of being added on to when you want to step into your power, or you want to make sure that you're creating a brand where people aren't being distracted by something about you or the visual where they can actually hear what you're trying to teach them or know that it's the right fit. There's so much planning that goes into almost making, like, there's this weird balance of making myself kind of disappear so you can hear what I'm saying, but also appear enough where you want to listen in the first place. It's this really funny, strange balance.
And it's holding attention because it's like, we live in such a content economy now where you have to hook people within 2 seconds. That's how long it takes them to decide, like, okay, do I want to watch this? Do I not? So, I mean, there's definitely, when I make my little posing videos on the internet, it's definitely almost like a character. It's like a personality. And then when you work with me, closer one-on-one, it's like this in this capacity, But I mean, it is true. It's a very interesting fine line, and it's kind of a target that's constantly changing as the way that we consume content continues to change.
Yeah. And it was funny. I had my kind of film team come and shoot a recent workshop I did in person. And they came back and they're like, I didn't know you had a speaker's voice. And I'm like, I didn't know I had one either till you told me.
What do they mean? Like you have like a professional, like news, kind of news voice?
Yeah. Like when there's like a different, like you said, character that I step into when I'm giving a presentation versus having a casual conversation. And I don't think I'm someone that changes very much between my different worlds, but it was funny to see how that does. Because I know that I'm sure you've had these moments too, when you're giving a course or something else and you finish it and you're like, I think I blacked out through that entire thing. So hopefully that was good.
Always.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do about nerves. It's like really being so present that you're not able to think beyond it. But yeah, so I'm glad it worked at least. When you're looking at what's next for you and what you're, how you're wrapping up the year and jumping into 2024, what are you excited about and what's next for you?
So I need to relaunch this darn course. So that's the thing. I'm like a tinkerer, I like to tinker with things. So I'm always trying to find the best way to do something. That's just kind of like my personality. So, I've launched my course about 3 times, gotten feedback from it, and I just want it to be as effective as possible. Because the thing is, you can watch as much posing content video if you want. It's kind of like the same as if you were to go to the ballet and watch ballet and then watch ballet on YouTube. And it's like, if you're not actually practicing it, like, okay, cool. Like, wow, what a beautiful tour jeté that was, like you can become like a spectator, but you're not actually going to learn it. So I've finally figured out, and I've been working on this since 2018, the best way to integrate everything in a way that actually gets results. So it's just going to be a matter of kind of relaunching that like in its beta mode before really trying to scale it next year. So that's kind of my big focus. And then we're going in October on like kind of like a East Coast like leaf peeping trip, which I'm really excited about. My dad turned 70, he turned 75 a few weeks ago, and like he's getting older. I moved back from New York to California in 2019 to help take care of my parents. So that's why I'm like, back home in California instead of living in New York. So his mobility has gone down significantly. And so we're like, we've never done it. Let's just go. It's going to be fun. So my sister's going to join us from Seattle. So we're going to go do that. And then I have like so many fun things planned for fall and holiday, like just in terms of posing videos, like I want to do more kind of like applicable things like, family posing and like posing with a Thanksgiving turkey and, like posing around a table. So I'm really excited for the next 3 months. What about you?
Oh my goodness. I think we are definitely reaching a maximum capacity for how much stuff we can do and launch in a month. We just relaunched my community, Extraordinary Entrepreneurs. I'll be in New York in 2 weeks for a new business that I've launched with a partner. And actually we'll have just come back from when this launches the business show in LA, where we have a booth and I'm speaking. So there's so much going on, and we are kind of wrapping up all this new stuff in September so we can really focus on planning for 2024 and just like expanding the community and helping more entrepreneurs. Like there's so many people like yourself who love what they do and deserve to have empires without having to do more work. And that's just what I'm so committed to helping people put together. Like so often the things, just like I think you and I actually have very aligned businesses in the sense that a simple shift can radically change a photo. And I know a simple shift can radically change a business.
Yeah.
And the thing, it seems so simple what you have to change. But when it happens, it's not like a 1 degree shift. It's like either a whole mindset shift or it's like, holy cow, like this just means I can throw away 80% of stuff I was doing for no reason. So
yeah,
it's what you do is profound, and giving people access to these small moments that produce profound results is a really fun business to be in.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I love getting messages from people. I love like meeting people in real life too, and then be like, "Oh, can I pose you?" Like, which is really fun. Also, it's cool being able to connect with people and definitely see how people see themselves change. So
yeah,
be a part of their journey. And I love the fact that it's like they'll be like, "Oh yeah, my mom and I used your tips or whatever," and so somebody's like 80-year-old mother, like that's cool. Like I love that.
Yeah. You're impacting everyone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. That's really nice.
We've been asking everyone on the podcast as well, like, what do you need? What's on your wish list? What's on your to manifest list for you personally, for your business? This is a smart, helpful, collaborative community. And I really do believe that we never know who has that key that we've been looking for. So what is something that you would like to ask for?
I want to do more public speaking gigs. I really like it. I think I love doing TV. I'm very fortunate that I get to be on TV like a lot. That's
amazing.
And I don't even have a publicist or anything. Like, it's just like, I'm fortunate that, like a lot of people from the news have started following me, and then like journalists follow other journalists. So it's like, I get these really cool like features like New York Post or Access Hollywood or like GMA, but I'd love to do more in-person events and things like that, I think, which is probably the last thing on earth I should be doing right now. It's like I should be automating my e-course and getting like an evergreen funnel set up, but I love connecting with people in real life. And a lot of my job, I talk to people online and I do like, Zoom calls with people for private coaching and stuff, but it's a lot of, being in my pajamas and like being on a computer. So I'd love to do kind of more like real life things. Whether that's speaking about confidence or kind of self-image, or just kind of how posing ties into all that, or just teaching people like practical tips that they can use.
Well, and in that space, like, what do you want people to know about confidence?
The thing I want people to know is that confidence isn't a blanket term. So I talk about this a lot, in my course that's constantly being revamped, is that you can actually be confident about multiple different sectors. It's not like, oh, wow, Kara's such like a confident person. It's like, no, she's confident at podcasting, but maybe she's not confident at posing for photos. So the thing is, it's really just confidence comes from competence. So it's really just learning the skills that you need to learn about one specific thing, getting better at it. And that's how you grow your confidence. So like if it's public speaking or you feel, anxious about speaking in front of people, it would just be practicing it, growing your competence, and then eventually you'll become confident in it. So there's no like magic sauce to confidence. It's literally just knowing the right techniques, practicing it, then putting your own stylistic spin on it until you feel really good doing it.
And I think even to go a step further, like just being brave enough to say, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people who know they don't know, but they're afraid to ask because whatever it will mean if they admit they don't know how to do something. But whether it's, I don't know how to pose, or I don't know how to like really manage my money, or I don't know how to use QuickBooks, or I don't know what like this contract means, like being brave to ask for help. Like suddenly you get to skip through things and it's like, oh, look, you got your shit together. And it's like, nope, I just asked a lot of questions. Thank you.
No, that's so right.
How has your confidence evolved as you have taken on this business and seen the impact that you make?
So I've always been really confident kind of at what I do. I've definitely become more confident when it comes to recording video. That's something, that has become more like second nature. It's funny watching, my videos from like 2020 when I first started doing short form video and just seeing like how much it's changed. And, I'm wearing makeup today because like I have to go to an event in LA after, but like normally I just don't even wear makeup anymore. It's just kind of like, okay, this is me. You can take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of segueing, which I apologize for if
No,
that's
no,
okay.
go
But
ahead.
it's funny because like, my sister asked me, like, what is it like kind of with your relationship with your body? Because a lot of people who grow really quickly on the internet, there can be a lot of like self-loathing or becoming hypercritical of your
Mm-hmm.
appearance. But for me, it's actually become the opposite because there's literally a new version of me every day and the
Yeah.
content keeps on changing. So it's almost as if like, things that I felt so self-conscious about, they really don't matter as much anymore
Mm-hmm.
because I'm constantly moving. And I think that a lot of times in life, I get like analysis paralysis or I'd get really like procrastination because something is so important to me. And I think that that's somewhere I've really grown a lot also because you realize like how little things truly matter. Like, what's the
Yeah.
worst? It's like, oh, you're gonna have a video with 11 million people seeing me make a fool out of myself. Like, that's happened,
Yeah.
like we can do it again, like it's happened, and
Yeah.
people say things and people, but like, I'm still here, so it's like kind of like
Yeah.
I've grown in my ability to take risks. I've definitely become more confident in that sector because like this like kind of like level of visibility has been very interesting. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of gotten me out of like my own ego, I think, in a lot of ways for the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you realize how fast the content is consumed and tossed aside, and then you realize how much content you're going to actually make in the whole world of what you're doing, it gets to the point where like, it doesn't matter. It
It
just
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
It's little, it's one blip. And yeah, maybe like we'll have a mega viral experience and maybe I'll end up on the news for it, but chances are like it'll just be another piece of content,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then
yeah.
once you do that, you just get back on and keep going again.
And
Like
keep
there's
going. Yeah.
that element of like head down grit, like just keep making what you know you want and need to make. And because there's like this, I don't know if this happens to you, like there's a guiding force of like, I can't ignore where I know I'm supposed to go.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I have a choice, but I almost don't have a choice about like what's coming next because I'm not able to, even like you said earlier, sleep if I know that I'm supposed to be like going towards the right. And I'm like, no, but the plan was to go left. And it's like, well, we got to change it now. Like there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So like what is that driving force for you? Like, or how does it show up for you? I think is the real question. Like, do you just know it? Do you feel it? Does it poke you for a while if you're ignoring it?
It comes in my quiet times, like the
Yeah.
shower or before sleep. It's just like I'll have like I don't want to be like an ingenious idea. It's not. It's like, like
Sometimes they are.
moving your arm a specific way and getting it's like not, like, but
Yeah.
yeah, it comes to me and then I kind of almost like unravel it further and further. And then I'm very lucky in that I'm able to remember these things kind of later. It's not like, oh, this is a good idea. It's like, kind of mill it over. Like it, I mean,
Yeah.
there was that kind of fable about I guess the cobbler who would cut the leather and then lay it out and then the elves would do it at night when he was asleep. And it was like a metaphor for like letting ideas rest and then they kind
Mhm.
of will come together. So it's almost like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think so too. Like there's people get on, they'll be mean to themselves about procrastinating, about like putting together the course final touches or putting together their strategy or whatever it is that we have to build.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, but have you been thinking about it for 6 months or a year?
6 years. Yeah.
Right. Has it been like ruminating this whole time?
I ruminated for 3 years before I put out my first e-product. Like
Yeah.
literally ruminated on it, so yeah.
Yeah. So I bet when it came down to like you finally typing it, it didn't take 3 years.
No,
it probably took 3 hours.
I mean, my ebook took like a year to make just because I shot everything, edited it,
Yes.
put it together myself, but yeah, I normally, something I found really helpful workflow wise is I script. My
Yep.
poor notes app is so scary. Like, it's just, like I'll like dictate into my phone and then it will like say everything wrong and it will be like, but it's a helpful thing. I highly recommend that if somebody is dealing with procrastination, open up your notes app on your phone, just start talking into your phone all of your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Just like dump it out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for voice memos and the audio app and everything else, because we just have to get it out. And that's why I think when we do have a moment to like get the idea on paper, it's actually really easy to write out what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, like we spent all the time ruminating on it. We actually wrote it out and created it pretty quickly. And now we have to execute on it. But we get so nervous that we don't know how to start. And it's like, you do. It's just all in your head to like get it on paper or get it in a voice note, get it out of your body so that either you can have your brain start percolating on the next thing you need, or so people can help you, because no one can help you if it's stuck in your head.
Yeah. No, that's so right.
So for everybody who is like, I need to take your course, I need to hire her, I need her help yesterday, where can they find you, follow you, work with you, and support you?
Yeah, so I am on TikTok at Look Good in Photos. I am on Instagram at the Christine Buzan. If you're on Facebook, I'm Look Good in Photos with Christine Buzan. That's Buzan. I'm sure there'll be like a little thing that's thrown up there, so you can find me there. I have my ebook, 101 Ways to Pose, which is howtoposeforphotos.com. And yeah. So, I mean, definitely the ebook is a great place to start. I think that's really helpful for a lot of people, just because it shows you, different ways of kind of thinking about posing. So it has 101 different poses. And then as well as the photo, it's kind of a written explanation. Put your weight on your back leg, shift, because I'm one of those people, I know some people learn best through audio or video or reading. And I'm a reading learner, which I think that we get like forgotten about a lot. So I try to include that too in everything that I do.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking time today and sharing your wisdom and everything you know about posing and confidence and beyond with us today. I know that a lot of people are going to be very excited about this episode. So thank you for being a yes to me and to the Powerful Ladies.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to meet everybody and that kind of thing. So yeah, say hi to me on social media.
All the links that connect with Christine and her Looking Good in Photos tools are in our show notes at thepowerfulladies.com. Please subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening and leave us a rating and review. Visit us on Instagram at Powerful Ladies. And if you're looking to connect directly with me, visit karaduffy.com or Kara_Duffy on Instagram. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.